Hello there, my name is John and I am a nobody. Today we're going to have another little Have Base Will Travel story, this time about Weimar in Germany. And it's an interesting, funny kind of thing, or it's supposed to be funny. If you look on a map of Germany, Weimar is right in the middle. And you might recognize the name from the Weimar Republic because it's where they drafted the first draft of the Constitution, the German Constitution. It's a very historical place, and I've only played there twice, but it's well worth a visit. They have a lot of museums and a lot of Goethe stuff, and it's a beautiful little town. I met Lube Dvorak at my wedding, and Nicky Sudden had brought him along, and he played. And this led to me doing a tour with Lube Dvorak, who was in fact the great-grandson of the famous composer Dvorak. He must be famous because even I'd heard of him. And we went to Weimar to do a gig there. We later went to the Czech Republic, or Czech as it was called, or it is called now, and did a gig there. But while we were in Weimar, we were walking down the street, and I think Lube maybe got a bit confused. I don't know. He was Canadian, so I don't mean that as an insult. And they had a street called Martin Luther Straße, which was named after the founder of the Reformation. And he got confused. He thought it was something to do with Martin Luther King, who had been named after Martin Luther. And we walked down the road or the street, and on the left there was a 60s hotel building with a little veranda outside. And I said to him, yeah, it's Martin Luther King, maybe. He was very impressed, Luther was. Lube, the Canadian, was very impressed that the Germans had a street named after Martin Luther King. And I pointed at a hotel that was built in the 60s maybe, with the veranda, and I said, yeah, and that very same veranda is where Martin Luther King was tragically assassinated from. And my wife's come home, and very, very briefly he was convinced that I was telling the truth, until it dawned on him that he got the wrong country and the wrong person. The second time I played there was with Nicky Sudden and the Last Bandits. That was Stefan and myself. And we'd been to have something to eat, and Nicky had done his usual thing as a vegetarian. He picked a green salad, and that was basically it. That's all he had to eat. And Stefan and I had something a bit more substantial to keep us going throughout the evening. And we were walking back to the club. It was a lovely little club. And the next day they had Dave Davies from the Kinks, the guitar player from the Kinks, playing in the same club the following day. And we were walking across the historical marketplace, very nice. And these two women came waddling up to us, these two middle-aged women. And one of them said in English, "Oh, I can't believe it's you." Oh, wow. She was so impressed and thrilled and to see Nicky there, and asked for an autograph. And they found some paper and pen and Nicky, with a great flourish, did his autographs twice, and the women were thrilled until they looked at the autographs and said, "This is strange, this is not right." Nicky Sutton. And they got him confused with Dave Davies of the Kinks. They thought he was somebody else. Nicky was disgusted and he turned on his heel and walked off at great speed. He was a very fast walker, was Nicky. And it was just hilarious somehow, which just sounds cruel, but it was. And that was the second time I played in Weimar. The Weimar Republic was founded after or in between the wars and has become notorious after the even more notorious vegetarian from Austria got up to his antics. But it's interesting to know that there was actually a very famous British-Irish, Anglo-Irish artist in Germany at the time, Francis Bacon, and what a life he had, you know. I mean, to have been in the capital of debauchery, which maybe the Weimar Republic was at that time, was another example of how fast history disappears. Anyway, I hope you like that brief one, this brief one, and as you can see, I went to the hairdressers. So take care of yourself and those you love, and I hope to see you in the next one. Tschüssikowski. Weimar. Was a visit.